North side is cheaper, but it's not a lot to do out there. On the south side is good. The south side is the best side. You ready to blow a bag? River Oaks, the Galleria area. That's my goal in life, is to get in one of those areas. Love it. Very luxury, very demure, just very everything. Very upscale. Highly recommend. Hey y'all, welcome back to my lifestyle channel. As you can tell by the title, we will be talking about how to find an apartment in Houston. I moved to Houston 2 years ago and I found my apartment by just using my iPad, my iPhone, and my MacBook. I didn't go view apartments. I didn't have time to come back and see which area I wanted to live in. I just used Google, my smartphone, to make some calls and prayed that when I showed up, everything was what I wanted it to be. I do not advise you do that because that was a big risk. I just had to hope that what the leasing office was telling me was true. I just had to hope the area I thought I would be staying in was the same area I came to visit. I was just really moving here on a dream and a prayer, and thank God he looked out for me, because that was low-key foolish. So don't do that. But stay tuned, because we're going to get into how I did do it remotely if you don't have time to come back to Houston, and if you are in Houston or you do have time to come and visit, some things to consider when looking for an apartment. So, how I found my apartment. First, I started with an apartment locator. I found one on TikTok, and she was quick. She responded back with a list of places. But as I started looking at places, I was like, I don't like the reviews of half of these places. When you Google some of these places, it's like 45 minutes to an hour from Houston. So that was immediate no. Also, with apartment locators, they make commission off of whatever apartments they get people to stay in. So to me, it's more about them being able to make money, but that does not mean they're going to recommend the best apartments for you. Like, I wanted to live in Houston. She was recommending apartments in Tomball. That's like 45 minutes to an hour away with traffic. Absolutely not. So I don't recommend apartment locators. I know y'all probably see them all over social media saying, give me a call, reach out to me, I can get you this deal. It's only available for a limited time. It'd be a lot of BS behind it, so don't fall for that. Then I went on apartments.com and I think apartmentfinder.com, and my searches there, I don't know, I just wasn't finding anything in my price range. I just wasn't happy with what I was seeing on apartments.com, so I was like, dang, what I'm gonna do? Also, mind you, with apartments.com, it does not directly list every apartment. So keep that in mind. Apartment.com can be a good search depending on what area you want to live in. But the downfall to that is it does not specifically do a great search of a mass number of apartments in a certain area, if that makes sense. So I was talking to my nail tech who had came to visit Houston before, and I told her I really liked the area I stayed in when I came to visit that summer. And she was like, why don't you just see if you could find some apartments in that area? So I got on Google. I specifically searched for apartments in this and that area of Houston, and a long list of apartments showed up. I was like, okay, bet. I went through and I read several Google reviews. This probably took about a week or so. And I had a rating system of what apartments could stay and what apartments was absolutely not. Because it was like 20, 25 plus apartments that populated. Strike one was anything that was under a 4-star rating. Absolutely not. I'm moving from out of town. I don't have time for nothing going wrong. I need top of the line. Okay. Strike two was if I read too many reviews with car theft or with bugs. So here's the interesting thing about Houston. Just like they say Atlanta got a car theft problem, Houston comes in number 2 with car theft, people taking tires, people vandalizing vehicles. So any complex that had a certain number of theft problems in the past year or two, absolutely not. And beware, a lot of apartments have bug problems too. Any review with bugs was absolutely not. I don't care if it was 6 months ago. If I saw anything about bugs within the past 2 years, no. So my long list of like 20-25 places with just those few requirements, half of that list was down to like 13 places. So then I started considering budget and what was included in amenities. And then that kind of like narrowed the list down to maybe like 8 places. Then I started being like, okay, let me start reaching out to these places. After I had did a more thorough search on apartments.com just to confirm that what I was seeing on their website was also what they had listed on other websites. And not being able to get in contact with certain apartment complexes, that took my list down from like 8 places to 3 places. Customer service was very important to me. I'm moving from out of town. I don't have time to play around with a complex who might lose paperwork or can't even simply answer the phone. Absolutely not. So I'm down to my last 3 places. The first 2 places I contacted, they were about neck and neck in the same price range. But one apartment complex had black appliances and one had stainless steel. I was ready to be part of Black Girl Luxury and have my stainless steel. So naturally, I wanted that first option. I was willing to do the second option, but I really wanted that first option. So the lady from the first complex, she made arrangements to do a virtual tour with me. She FaceTimed me. She showed me the unit that was available that I could apply for. It was everything I wanted. So that was another thing too. When I was looking for apartments, I had a list of things that I wanted. I wanted stainless steel appliances. I wanted keyless entry. I wanted a garage or a gated community. I wanted a pool. I had my list of wants. So that was another thing too. As the list started narrowing down, it was even easier to eliminate certain things or certain apartments per se. So she showed me the unit. It was everything I wanted. There was a space for me to set up my little office. The bathroom was a decent size. It had a walk-in closet, keyless entry, valet trash, stainless steel appliances, washer and dryer included. Everything that I needed for it to be checked off. So she was like, go ahead, apply for it. It approves you instantly online and we'll go from there. So that's what I did. I applied for it. I got approved. I paid my deposit and that was my apartment. They stayed in contact with me during the process leading up to me moving because I signed my lease probably about 6 weeks before I was scheduled to come to Houston. They were great with communication. They had an online portal where it was easy to upload the information they needed, like renter's insurance, license, all of those kinds of things. And then when it came time for me to move in, I pulled up in the Uber right at the time that the leasing office opened. The lady that I had been communicating with, she came out the office. She helped me with my bags. She showed me the unit. She showed me the property. She made sure I was settled in. That was that. It is such a miracle and blessing that I got here, and the neighborhood was exactly what I thought it was from my Google search. So that's another tip. You could get on Google, type in things, and hit the binoculars, or you could get on the internet too and type it in and do the 360 view, and you could actually like see the area. So I ended up actually moving to an apartment complex that was within like 3 minutes from the hotel that I stayed at. Didn't even know this apartment complex was here, but when I was doing my little Google search, I was like, oh, I remember that area. I remember stuff being around there. So it worked out perfectly that me and my best friend stayed where we stayed at when we came to visit, and that the apartment complex was everything she showed me and everything I saw online. There was nothing but a blessing. You could do this method if you want to, but I really would say go see apartments versus going on a dream and a prayer, because it was nothing but God that worked out for me. Because I hear so many horror stories about how people moved into places and they didn't like this and they didn't know about that. But I've been at my apartment complex for 2 years and everything has been smooth sailing. There's been no hidden fees. There's been 1 or 2 car thefts, I ain't gonna lie, because car theft overall in Houston is a problem. Honestly, unless you stay in an apartment complex with a concierge that let people in and out, your complex will likely have some kind of car theft. It may not be often, but I would say read the reviews and see how often car theft happens before you take an apartment off your list. Because like I said, that is a very problematic issue in Houston. So if over the past year, they only maybe had like 4 incidents, that's pretty good. If within like the past 6 months, you done read about 6, 7 incidents, I'll probably just take the apartment complex off the list. But overall, I love my apartment. Whenever I do move out, I'll probably stay where I lived at. So if new people are thinking about coming to Houston, they can move here. But for safety reasons, I'm not going to say. But I love my apartment, and it has been great. Now, let's get into 2 of the major factors that you should consider before you pick an apartment. And those 2 things are your budget and location. Budget. Please be mindful, and I have this all written down. I'll probably put it on the screen too. You need to think about the base rent plus fees, utilities, and whatever else may not be included. Because base rent may seem reasonable, but by the time they add on fees, if you got a pet, valet, whatever, that's not gonna be the same price. Like at my apartment complex, the base rent is really reasonable. By the time they added on valet, pest control, this technology package that you can't option out of, which isn't bad because it includes cable and internet service. But by the time you add on all of that, it's like an additional $250 to $300 to the base rent. So consider base rent plus adding on an extra $200 to $300 for whatever fees the apartment complex may have. Also consider, is the apartment complex price good in comparison to other complexes nearby? Like if one complex is like $1,500 and then the other complexes are like $1,200, $1,300, I don't know if you should move there because that's kind of a big price discrepancy. Also consider the square footage of a place, because certain square footages, you be like, ain't no way I'm about to give you 2 bands for this. That's crazy. Think about amenities. Every apartment has different amenities. One thing I do like about my complex, we have 4 pools. One of the pools is actually right outside my unit. I could just walk right out. The pool's right there. We are near a park. They have washer and dryer included here. Major appliances are included. There's a 2-story gym. So think about all of those things before you move somewhere. Because some places, they still don't be trying to include no washer and dryer. They don't have no pool. They just have a long list of don'ts. So think about that before you pick a place. And really, really, really heavily consider these things. Because for me, a gym was important. Granted, I don't go to the gym as much as I should. But a gym was important because that's going to save on a membership. Valet trash was important to me because I'm at that age now. I don't like to fool with that trash. So putting it right outside my door, that's what I like. So amenities are very important. And lastly, when it comes to budget, think about the lease. Typically, the longer leases are cheaper base rent because they're like, oh, we know we're going to get this money for at least a year or so out of you. But if you are moving here and you are not sure how long you want to stay here, ask them about the shortest term lease that you can sign. Yes, it's going to be more expensive, but it's going to be a whole lot easier to leave with a short-term lease or terminate that lease versus you done sign a 12 to 15 month lease and 2 or 3 months in, you're like, yeah, I don't see me staying in Houston. Now you got to pay all of this money to break your lease, or you're going to risk ruining your credit if you do just break the lease and don't even try to work out nothing with the complex. 2, location. Location matters almost more than the budget matters because that can start to determine how much money you are spending in gas and just doing other little things. So think about neighborhood safety. Do you have kids? If you don't, do you like to go outside and walk around? If you work certain jobs and you get home at certain hours, do you feel okay if it's dark outside to get out your vehicle and get in the house? Do you feel like you can go to sleep at night and not wondering if somebody's going to break in? Neighborhood safety is very important. Also, Houston is one of the top cities for sex trafficking. Like I said, neighborhood safety is very, very important. Make sure there ain't a whole bunch of strange people and strange activities going on in the community if you have time to come and visit. Are there other things that's nearby? Is there grocery stores? Are there restaurants? Is there doctor's offices? What other things can you go and do? Because when you start talking about commuting and you got to keep driving far to just go do basic everyday things, I don't know if I want to stay at that complex. Flood zone. This is another big one. When you sign a lease, they have to tell you whether or not it's a flood zone. If it is a flood zone, please understand, 9 times out of 10, it will likely flood there. When it rains 1 too many days back to back in Houston, it's going to flood. If there's a storm, it's going to flood. Any little thing because of the drainage system here causes flooding. If your apartment complex tells you that this is a flood zone, please get top of the line renter's insurance and please prepare yourself because 9 times out of 10, it's going to flood, especially if you live near the Buffalo Bayou. Keep that in mind. And traffic. Traffic is a huge issue in Houston. So think about how close you are to the freeway. Are there any back streets that you can take that's maybe not as crowded? Or just think about your commute to work. Because if you don't work from home, think about that. Because traffic can get crazy. Like, for example, if you ever came to Houston or you think about moving here, if you stay in the Galleria area, which is by the luxury mall, but you work in Memorial City, which is where the secondary mall is at, that could easily take you 30 to 45 minutes to get to work during traffic hours. So consider that before you pick an apartment because it will honestly be more feasible and better if you just stay in Memorial City versus staying in the Galleria area because that commute and 45 minutes, honestly, after 5 o'clock, that's kind of light work, going from that side of town to the other side of town. But please think about your job and the things you like to do when it comes to location. Another example, if you know you like to go outside and you want bottles coming from the back, or you just want to have things you can easily go and do not move to the outskirts. When people be online saying that they live in Spring, they live in Cypress, they live in Katy, that is far if you talking about you want to go out to camp, Area 29, or you just want to go and do anything fun. Because that's easily 30 to 45 minute drive. I don't recommend that, and honestly, I don't feel like you really be saving money by doing that because you're spending more money in gas. You definitely can't easily Uber there, so now you got to pay for this high-ass parking. Honestly, depending on what you like to do, think about that before you pick a location. The outskirts are not for people who want to be outside. It's way too far, and it's just too much. Don't do that. And consider public transportation. Honestly, Houston is a place that I say you need a car. It is walkable in certain neighborhoods, but preferably have a car. There is the Metro Rail in downtown that you could take if you decide to stay in downtown. But if you're not going to stay in downtown, or you're going to take the bus, because some neighborhoods do have a bus, so that's something to consider too when it comes to location. But preferably have a car because public transportation is not the best, and certain neighborhoods don't have a bus stop. And noise level, depending on what side of town you live on, is way noisier than others. Technically, where I live at in Houston, it's kind of noisy because I stay right off of one of the main freeways. If you choose to stay downtown or in Midtown, it is going to be noisy because people are outside. It's nightlife around there. If you kind of more or less want a quiet area, then maybe the outskirts would be a good fit for you, or just certain areas in the city is a lot quieter than others. So think about noise level. So when it comes to location, think about neighborhood safety. Think about how far the commute is to everyday activities like grocery stores, gas stations. Think about traffic and your commute to work and your commute to want to go outside and just do different things in Houston. Think about public transportation. Think about the actual noise level of that neighborhood. Lastly, let's go over some popular areas or areas that are safe in Houston. I'm going to put the name on the screen as I'm talking about each subdivision or each neighborhood. So, starting out with Bel Air. Bel Air is great for residential places. It's near the Galleria area and the Upper Kirby area. It's affordable, cute little area. Downtown. Downtown is great. It's walkable. They have restaurants and bars down there. You are near the museum district, which has the zoo, Butterfly Museum, the Fine Arts Museum. There's other main attractions such as the Post, the Downtown Aquarium, the Toyota Center where the Rockets play at and where all the main concerts are held at, the Minute Maid Park, which is where the Astro baseball team play at. There's Herman Park. There's Discovery Green, which is another park that has a lot of free events, and it's near the NRG Stadium. So downtown is great. The only con about downtown is homelessness. Homelessness is really, really bad in Houston, and it is extremely horrible downtown. Please consider that. Downtown is safe, but if you're somebody that you don't want to get out your car and just be seeing random people, I don't know if I would recommend moving downtown. The Galleria / Uptown area, one of my favorite sides of town. It has the luxury mall over there. It has a lot of nice fine dining, a lot of upscale hotels like the Westin. You got Oceanair. Great things over there in the Galleria area. And it is the home of a lot of the popular nightlife like Camp, the Warwick, Nomad, Prospect Park, Onyx. Galleria area is perfect. It's pricey, but if you like to go outside, I highly recommend the Galleria / Uptown area. Upper Kirby / Greenway. This area is walkable. The good thing about this area is within 10 to 15 minutes from all the other areas. It's literally like the middle point for all the other little subdivisions in Houston. It's 10 to 15 minutes from Midtown and downtown. It's 10 minutes from the Galleria area. It's just close by a lot of things, and it's walkable. It's a great place for residential stay. Highly recommend Upper Kirby. Also, the good thing about Upper Kirby is it's kind of has some upscale factors too. It's a great happy medium if you can't afford River Oaks or Galleria, because they have some high rises out here. They have some coffee shops out here. Great for the Upper Kirby area. The Heights depends on what part of the Heights, because to me part of the Heights is a little scary, But other parts of the Heights is family friendly. There's bars, there's restaurants, it's affordable. So the Heights is good, just depends on which side of the Heights or how deep into the Heights you move. But the Heights is a pretty popular area that a lot of newcomers move to. Midtown, walkable, nightlife, high-rise apartments, cute side of the city. Only issue is, just like downtown, Midtown has a homelessness problem. And my thing about the homelessness, sidebar, I don't like how aggressive they are in Houston. I've never been to a city where the homeless people are so aggressive and ready to fight, and just at the stoplights, they are like knocking on your window. The homelessness in Midtown and downtown is really, really problematic. Please heavily consider the homelessness before you pick an apartment. Memorial City side of town, that is where I say the secondary mall is, because that's the second largest mall in Houston, but it's not as upscale as the Galleria area. It's great for everyday living. They have a lot of shopping stores out there, retail. That area also has a lot of fine dining. So typically in Houston, fine dining is either in the Galleria Uptown area, or you could find a second location in Memorial City. Memorial City is also closer to Katy, and it's right off of Katy Freeway. Great side of town. The only con to me about Memorial City is busy. They just be having a lot going on over there. It's a lot of jobs. It's a lot of things to do over there. But that side of town is just a bit too busy for me. Meyerland. They have a well-known shopping plaza over there. They have banks over there. It's near downtown. It's great for everyday living. Montrose. A lot of different cute cafes. It's very artsy, very eclectic, and it's walkable. Very safe. Anything pretty much north side is cheaper, but the north side to me is not the safest from what I've heard. I don't visit the north side, but if you're interested in the north side, I would recommend Spring, Woodland, Tomball, Humble, and Cypress. Another thing about the north side, it is far. As I mentioned earlier, when that lady tried to get me to move to Tomball, that's like 45 minutes to an hour, and that's without traffic. So that's another thing to consider if you're going to move to the north side. Whatever mileage you see it is during that time of day, please understand during peak hours, it's going to be way longer. Like right now, to get to the Woodlands for me is like 45 minutes. With traffic, that's probably an hour and a half. North side is cheaper, but it's not a lot to do out there, and it's an actual far commute into the actual city of Houston where most things happen. Also, River Oaks. River Oaks, another one of my favorite parts of town. Very upscale, very luxury, very much so demure. And it's walkable. Between River Oaks and the Galleria area, the money is there. Third Ward. The Third Ward gets a bad rep because no, it's not the safest, but it is affordable. TSU and part of the University of Houston is in Third Ward. A lot of the nightlife is in Third Ward, and the best food spots is in Third Ward. I would say visit Third Ward and have fun. Don't live there, but it is going to be cheaper if that is more of your vibe. The West University area is another subdivision. It's kind of like near Upper Kirby. It's very family friendly, a lot of residential places to live. It's kind of a lower cost of living to a point, I guess, as far as like family wise, and Rice University is in the area as well. Also, anything on the south side is good. The south side is the best side. Even the southwest side is the best side. I just say avoid anything on the north side. No disrespect to anybody who may live on the north side, or if you are considering the north side. I'm just not that fond of the north side. It's not enough things to do over there, and the commute to Houston is just a bit too much for me. But the south side, all day, every day. Some outskirts in the south side would be Pearland, Pasadena, Katy, Richmond, Missouri City, aka Mo City, or Sugarland. And real quick, when it comes to the outskirts are just that. When people be saying, oh, that's Houston, no. If your apartment complex does not say Houston, and like I said, depending on where you stay, specifically the north side, I don't feel like that's Houston, because your commute to the actual city and to do activities and to work and just do the things that everyday people in Houston do, that's far. But if you want to live on the outskirts because it's cheaper, do what you gotta do for your budget. I just say, like I mentioned earlier, if you know you want to do certain things, I don't really think the outskirts is as cheap as people make it out to be. So to wrap it up, I'm gonna recommend the best areas in tiers. If you got money and you ready to blow a bag, River Oaks, the Galleria area. That's my goal in life, is to get in one of those areas. Love it, very luxury, very demure, just very everything, very upscale. Highly recommend. If you are like in the middle, like you could spend some money, but you don't want to spend $2 million to live in River Oaks area, I would say Upper Kirby or the Heights. The Heights is very, very popular, and you'll probably meet a whole lot of friends and be able to network out there. If you don't want to live in the actual city, as far as outskirts area, I recommend Missouri City, aka Mo City, or Sugar Land. Those are about 20 minutes from the city, and that's the closest outskirt wise that you will get. The rest of the outskirts are easily 30 to 45 minutes away. So this is it. This is my review of Houston. Hopefully after watching this video, you'll be able to find you an apartment. You'll know which area inside of town you want to live on. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will do a follow-up video or I will respond. I'm also thinking about doing a pros and cons of Houston. I mentioned it in my move to Houston, but I want to do like a real thorough breakdown. Let me know if y'all would like that. And I will see y'all in the next one.